On December 27, 2010, the Chinese fishing vessel Lurongyu 2682 left the port of Shidawao in Rangcheng with 33 crew members on board. Their destination was far away, their waters near Peru and Chile in the eastern Pacific Ocean. According to their contracts, they were supposed to stay at sea for 2 full years. The promised pay sounded tempting, about 45,000 yuan a year, with additional bonuses depending on the catch. Their main job, catching squid at night, hauling them onto the deck, and then packing them into freezers. It was grueling work. Large squid could weigh close to 200 pounds, and pulling them up often left the men completely exhausted. Sometimes they had to work so hard that they couldn't sleep for almost 2 days straight. But here's the problem. Among the 33 men, only about 10 had real experience at sea. Even Captain Li Chengquan had only done 2 or 3 long voyages like this before. For 18 of the crew members, this was their very first time at sea. Some of them didn't even have proper seaman's licenses. A few couldn't swim at all. It was clear they weren't prepared, neither physically nor mentally, for the harsh life that awaited them. To make things worse, the captain was harsh and often abusive. If someone worked too slowly, Li would shout insults or even hit them. When 2 sailors, Huang Jingbo and Yu Pen, fell ill, there were no medical supplies on board. Instead of showing concern, the captain immediately reported to the company and demanded that their wages be cut off. Conflicts broke out among the men. One night, after drinking, the cook Xia Qiuyong fought with a young crew member named Jiang Xia Shalong. Even though others broke it up, Captain Li, who was close friends with Xia, snapped Jiang in front of everyone and threatened to throw him off the ship. Jiang, desperate not to be abandoned at sea, fell down on his knees, crying and begging to stay. Only after repeated pleading from other crew members did the captain relent. Life on board was exhausting and humiliating. What kept the men going was the hope of making money. Many believed that after 2 years, they could bring home around 100,000 yuan, a fortune for them and their families. But that hope was built on a cruel misunderstanding. The contract had promised a guaranteed base salary of 45,000 yuan per year. But in reality, the company had added a condition. If squid were caught, wages would instead be calculated based on tonnage, plus a small monthly payment of 1,000 yuan sent directly to the sailors' families. The rest would come from bonuses, 400 yuan for every ton of squid. One fisherman, Liu Gai, was the best at catching squid. In 3 months, he hauled in 14 tons, an impressive amount. But when his bonus was calculated, it came to only about 5,600 yuan, or roughly 2,000 yuan a month. Worse, before leaving, Liu had borrowed cigarettes and supplies on credit from the company. Looking at the numbers, he realized the shocking truth. If this went on, he wouldn't just fail to make money, he might actually owe the company when he got back. It was something he could neither accept nor endure. The hijacking. As the truth about wages became clear, frustration and anger spread quietly among the crew. Whispers of discontent passed from man to man. Some began to think about giving up or finding a way back home. One of them was Bao De, a tough sailor from Inner Mongolia. He approached Captain Li and asked to resign and return to China. But the captain's answer crushed that hope immediately. Li told him bluntly, "You don't even have seaman's licenses. Out here, you're basically working illegally. No other ship will dare to take you back. Whether you want to work or not, you have no choice." That was the breaking point. In early June 2011, while they were in Peruvian waters, Bao began to think of a desperate plan: hijack the ship and force it to return home. He brought this idea to Liu Gai, the skilled squid fisherman. Liu agreed right away. Together, they started to secretly recruit others. Bao was known as a bold and impulsive man. He was quick to anger, fierce in a fight, and carried himself like a natural leader. Among the Inner Mongolian crew, he became their spokesman. But his hot temper and lack of strategy would eventually cost him dearly. Liu Guide, on the other hand, was more calculating. He observed people carefully, acted loyal to his fellow crewmen, and often stepped in to help when conflicts arose. For example, when crewmen fell ill, he had pleaded with the captain on their behalf. When Jiang Xiaolong was slapped and nearly thrown off the ship, Liu was one of the first to beg for mercy. He was generous too, often buying meals for others when they were still on shore, and freely handing out cigarettes on board. His popularity made him an influential figure, and since he was the one catching the most squash, many sailors looked up to him. If he refused to work, others were more likely to join in rebellion. Bao rallied his fellow countrymen from Inner Mongolia, Shuangxi and Daifushan. Liu reached out to his fellow northeasterners, Huang Jinbo, Jiang Xiaolong, Liu Chen Jianjian, Wang Peng, and Ding Yuming. Slowly, a group of 9 men came together, united by frustration and a dangerous plan. Some others on board knew what was happening, but stayed neutral. The only college-educated man on the ship, Ma Yuchao, said he wouldn't take part in violence, but he did offer to calculate fuel usage for them, to make sure the ship had enough to reach home. Liu carefully thought through every detail. They needed to wait until the ship had refueled enough for the journey back. They had to destroy the communication equipment, so no distress signals could be sent. The kitchen knives had to be hidden to prevent the cook, Ao Chiu, from fighting back. Since none of them really knew how to operate a ship, they needed technical support, or else hijacking would be pointless. Finally, they agreed on a signal to begin the operation, when someone shouted, "Raise the anchor!" On June 17, 2011, about 200 nautical miles off the coast of Chile. The ship refueled at the port. That night, around 11 p.m, the mutiny began. The attack. Huang went into the kitchen and hid the knives. Wang Peng, who had some training in ship navigation, shut down the communication on GPS systems. Jiang and Liu, Chen Jiangjian guarded the stairs leading up to the captain's cabin. The ship had 3 levels. Captain Li was resting in his cabin on the 3rd floor when Liu, Bao, Xi, and Dai burst inside, with squid knives and iron rods. They demanded that he turn the ship around. When Ao Ai refused, Bao slashed his thigh with a knife. As the captain cried out, Liu stabbed him again in the leg, warning him to stay quiet. Xi swung an iron bar at his head. The captain was quickly tied up with ropes. Under threat, he set the navigation system to chart a course back to China. But their actions had drawn attention. The cook, Xia Quyong, loyal to the captain and known for his hot temper, heard the commotion and started to climb up the stairs, shouting angrily, "Those brats dare to hijack the ship!" He was the first to die. Jiang stood in his way with a squid knife, blocking the staircase. But Sha pushed forward, confident that these young men, most in their 20s, were just acting out of impulse. What he didn't realize was that their desperation had already crossed a dangerous line. Surrounded at the doorway by Jiang and Liu Chen Junjian, Xia was trapped. Jiang, remembering the humiliation of being slapped by the captain's friend, was consumed with rage. He stabbed Xiao twice in the back, wounded, but still fighting. Xia grabbed the blade with his bare hands and managed to wrestle it away. At that moment, Liu Chen Jianzhang struck him in the legs with a steel pipe, bringing him to his knees. Jiang then drove the knife into Xia's chest. When Liu Guide arrived, he stabbed Xia several more times, then ordered the body thrown into the sea. The mutiny had turned bloody.